4-year-old MALEAH Davis was loved by family members. She was smart and loved to dance. She was a middle child amongst two brothers. So what happens when a 4-year-old girl vanishes after being pictured on surveillance footage entering her Houston apartment with her mother's fiance? Also, what happens when a mother leaves her child with a boyfriend, much less a future fiance? Did MALEAH's mother know that this would be the last time she would see her baby girl? What happened to MALEAH Davis? Matter of fact, who is responsible for when innocence is lost? This is episode number 1, The Missing Case of MALEAH Davis. Welcome to Key Pieces of Evidence podcast. I'm your host, kdm. We will look into the case of MALEAH Davis. Before we begin, Key Pieces of Evidence is a weekly podcast that focuses on true crime mystery and any information that might bring awareness. Anything I say is comprised of my findings from different online sources, which will be linked down below. And of course, my thoughts and opinions. And if I have said anything by mistake or left out anything, please kindly let me know all down in the comments, along with a link to your source. I will only be discussing things that are public information. So make sure to follow me on Instagram at kdm. This week, we will be discussing the case of MALEAH Davis. This is episode number 1. Where is MALEAH Davis? So first, I wanted to get into some of the background information of this sweet, kind little girl. Now, some information that I found out was that MALEAH is 4 years old. She had classmates, and she attended the Attitude, Respect, and Manner School in Houston, Texas. She was shy and loved to dance, yet amazingly smart. Now, the parents, and this is where we're really going to get into what is really going on and how did this beautiful girl end up missing. We have Brittany Bowens, who is the mother of MALEAH Davis. However, if you notice, I found some findings where she actually goes by Autumn Vince. And she's been together with her boyfriend, Darion Vince, and for about a couple years now. Now, MALEAH's actual biological father is Craig Davis Jr. MALEAH has a 1-year-old little brother, and the little brother is actually Darion Vince's son and Brittany Bowen's son. She has an older brother, and she underwent brain surgery last month in April 2019. Mind you, MALEAH Davis is only 4 years old. However, she's had multiple brain surgeries. All right. Most recently at the end of March and early April. So we have this 4-year-old. Hasn't even started elementary school quite yet, but has endured so much as multiple brain surgeries. All right, so let's get through the timeline here. Tuesday, April 30th, 2019. We have MALEAH's mother, Brittany Bowens, and she says she left town for her father's funeral in Massachusetts, leaving her daughter and younger son she shares with Vince in his care. Now, Brittany Bowens, her father passes away, yet she doesn't take her children. And I know on YouTube, you can definitely find the interview where she states the reason why she did not take her children. She said she could not afford it. She stated that a family member actually paid for her ticket. All right. She claims also that her oldest son actually went with the biological father's family, Craig Davis Jr. However, she left MALEAH Davis and her younger son with Darion Vince. Now, her father passed away on April 11th, but she didn't leave for the funeral till April 30th. So we're already starting to see some of the timeline being kind of in the gray. I don't know about you, but most people who do pass away, they normally bury them within a week. So obviously we see where the financial strain comes into the family segment, because she doesn't even get on a plane till April 30th, even though he passed away. Now, not only is this the day where MALEAH's mother goes to Massachusetts for her father's funeral, but this is actually the last time we see MALEAH Davis on surveillance footage. All right, this was obtained by KHOU TV, and it showed MALEAH walking behind Darion Vince towards their apartment complex. Like I said, this is the last time we would see MALEAH Davis. This is the last time MALEAH's mother is in Houston. She goes to Massachusetts for her father's funeral. All right. She was never seen exiting the apartment, but Darion was allegedly seen leaving the home 3 days later, carrying a blue laundry basket with a garbage bag. So she was never seen exiting the apartment, but Darion was allegedly seen leaving the home 3 days later after carrying a blue laundry basket and a garbage bag and bottles of bleach. Now that was on May 30th. So that's how many days she has not been seen already. So Saturday, May 4th. May 3rd, Darion is taking out the trash. But Saturday, May 4th, this is when Darion and his son, with Brittany, they arrive at the Houston Methodist Hospital between 10 and 11 p.m., where Darion apparently told authorities that he had been attacked and MALEAH had been abducted out of consciousness for almost 24 hours after being attacked while examining a possible flat tire on his way to pick up MALEAH's mother at the airport. So his story, he claims, mind you, we hadn't seen MALEAH in 3 to 4 days now. He's seen taking out the trash on May 3rd. However, he shows up at the hospital claiming that he was left unconscious. He has his biological son with him, but he claims that MALEAH had been kidnapped. Someone had attacked him because he was checking his tire and left him stranded, and that he even walked to the hospital. Now, Vince's story is quite interesting because for someone to have just abducted MALEAH and not the younger son, that seems kind of suspicious. Then, if this story is actually true, then why wouldn't they take both the children if this is a child abduction story? Also, if they did in fact abduct MALEAH Davis, why would they leave survivors behind to tell the story? Wouldn't they want to get away with this and not get caught? But this is his story. We don't know where MALEAH is, and that is the sole purpose of this case. Now, Darian also claims that they stole his car. That's why he walked to the hospital almost unconscious. Now, let's go back to Brittany. Brittany left April 30th. This is the last time we see MALEAH as well. Now, on May 3rd, Darian failed to show up at the airport to pick up Brittany. So she called her own mother to pick her up. And it was not immediately clear why Brittany did not contact the authorities after returning to Houston. So let's see. You have a fiance. You left to go bury your father on April 30th. You have not seen your children in so many days, much less your fiance, who is borrowing your brand new car. He fails to pick you up. You call your mother to pick you up instead. However, you don't call authorities at all whatsoever. That definitely raises an eyebrow in this case. Because what mother of three is not concerned if the person who is mainly watching your children does not pick you up at the time that they tell you that you have to call someone else to pick you up? So now we're on to Sunday, May 5th. An Amber Alert was issued for MALEAH, who authorities said had undergone multiple brain surgeries, including one late in March, and was in need of medical care. So here we have MALEAH Davis. And I know I keep restating this, but this is essential to understand this timeline. April 30th, we see MALEAH. However, it takes all the way to May 5th for an Amber Alert for this missing little girl. So much time has gone by, because who waits that long? So May 5th, an Amber Alert goes out. However, through all of the investigation that the Sugar Land police went through and all the questioning and speaking to Darian, they started to reveal pretty much that Darian's story had changed and that things simply did not add up. This whole abduction story did not add up. It did not tie things together. It did not make sense. And so now we start to reveal, was she truly abducted? And more importantly, where is MALEAH Davis? On May 8th, that next day, all right, this is like 2 to 3 days after this Amber Alert, the court ordered and they banned Brittany as well as Darian from seeing MALEAH's other siblings. So they're starting to understand that this story is not really adding up. This whole abduction story, him being hit across the head, being left unconscious, walking to the hospital, they only abducted MALEAH, just did not add up. So they said, you know what, you cannot talk to the other children. I think that was wise of the Sugar Land police to do that, because essentially we have this missing girl, the story's not adding up, so we have to start from square one. And square one means look to the people who are closest. Now, MALEAH's younger half-brother was sent to his paternal grandmother, while her older brother was put into custody of his paternal aunt. The order was reportedly the result of separate motions by Brittany's own mother, Brenda, and the Department of Family Protective Services. Now, just zeroing back, because we're at the timeline of May 8th. May 9th, we have someone who knows MALEAH greatly because they're the owner of the daycare that MALEAH attended. And the owner of the daycare states that MALEAH had not shown up to daycare since April 27th. sick. Brittany had not left to go to her father's funeral until April 30th. So that means that about 4 days before Brittany left for the funeral, MALEAH had not been showing up prior to that. Now, this owner also claimed that Vince and Brittany's son had been there till May 3rd. Now remember, May 3rd is when all this abduction happened. They don't know where she is at. They can't find her. He walks to the hospital. And that Vince picked him up, but MALEAH was not with him. So we have MALEAH, who hadn't gone to daycare 4 days even before Brittany goes to go see the grandfather. However, the youngest son, the 1-year-old, is still continuing to go to this daycare. So was she in fact abducted? Or was something going on in that house prior to it? Also on May 9th, they found Vince's car in a strip mall parking lot near Highway 6 and Riverstone Boulevard. Now, police searched the vehicle and later said that they found a laundry basket and can in its trunk. Is this the same laundry basket that we see Darian taking out on that April 30th, May 3rd gap? Now, when they found this car, it was a silver 2011 Nissan Altima, and Brittany actually goes to the scene and she begins crying about her daughter. Now, we still don't know where MALEAH is, and it's May 9th. The last time we've seen her is May 30th. And I believe that whenever you have a situation where you're trying to locate someone, they say the first 48 hours is so critical. So this time afterwards is only making things seem a little bit bleaker at this moment. Why does Brittany start to cry? But we lastly find out that MALEAH was taken away by Child Protective Services last year after she was rushed to the hospital with a seizure and a head injury. Now, this little girl was only taken to the hospital after Brenda, which is Brittany's mother, which is MALEAH's grandmother, arrived home from work and urged she be seen by a doctor. Now, at the time, MALEAH was living with Brenda, as well as Brittany and Darian. So you mean to tell me this little girl has a major head injury, but no one decides to take this little girl to the hospital until the grandmother gets home and urges that she be seen by a doctor? You have 2 adults in the house and they don't take her to the hospital until the grandmother comes home? This was just last year. So the ball is pretty much dropped. What mother and what happened for her to get this head injury? Let's just talk about that. A 4-year-old, and we know 4-year-olds, they play, they're into things, they're discovering things, but no child gets hurt on their own to a point where they have to have brain surgery unless someone or something did something to them. Now, doctors said MALEAH's mother, Brittany, and Darian claimed she fell off of a chair, but the injury did not align with the explanation. She was taken into temporary custody by CPS, but a judge returned her to her mother and Darian several months later. No one was charged in connection with the incident. I don't know about you. No child falls from a chair and receives that much of a head injury to where they actually have to have brain surgery because there's possible bleeding on the brain. Friday, May 10th. A spokesperson for Brittany, and this is Quanell, who will be introduced, who will be a major portion in the story. He reveals that Brittany and Darian had broken up, telling reporters that the couple parted on bad terms because Brittany suspected Darian of abusing MALEAH. Now, you hadn't seen your daughter since April 30th. Your child is missing, and y'all do the official Amber Alert on May 4th. It takes you to May 10th for you to officially cut ties from Darian, and now all of a sudden go on a campaign saying that Darian was abusing MALEAH. Now, this is her claim, in quotes. She told him she was giving back his ring and that she was not going to marry him. This is what Quanell says, and that he believes this caused Darian to snap in anger. There are reasons to believe, based on what I know, that there's issues of him possibly touching MALEAH in an inappropriate way. Now it takes you to May 10th to reveal this information out into the public. You still don't have your little girl. She still has not returned home. But now you want to cut things off. Now you're starting to reveal things like this. And let's just take it back. You're not married to this man. That's number one. That's one key piece. Number two, you allow a man that you're not married to babysit your children while you go so many states away, another time zone away, to bury your father. Yet you claim that he has been touching your daughter MALEAH. If you knew this information, if you had an inkling as a mother and you really legit thought that he was touching your daughter, why would you even allow him to take care of your two children by himself? If you did not trust him, and if you knew this prior, why would you allow him? Why? Why would you allow him to care for your children when you are not in the presence? Why would you want to be married or soon to be married to him if you knew he had been doing these things? It doesn't make sense. And when you hear more and more about Brittany, which we're going to get there with her and with Darian, it makes you side-eye Brittany, because no mother, a true mother who truly cares and loves and adores her children, would ever allow something like this in their home with their children. It just doesn't make sense, and Brittany has to take accountability. Even if, let's say, she was abducted, why would you allow a man in your children's life who is doing this to them? Why would you want to marry someone who is allegedly touching your children, much less your only little girl? This is still May 10th. Brittany did not report any concerns of alleged abuse to the police. Now, Quanell also said that Brittany previously threatened to break up with Darian because she found explicit pictures he sent to another man. So once again, I'm side-eyeing Brittany because, number one, if you knew he had been being inappropriate with your children, why are you wanting to marry this man? If he's sending pictures to a man, to someone else, why would you allow him to continue to be in your life, much less your children's life? What kind of example are you setting for allowing this behavior to continue in the home, the disrespect to continue in the home? On Saturday, May 11th, 2019, Darian Vince was finally arrested on charges of evidence of tampering. He was being held on charges of tampering with a human corpse, according to Harris County Jail records. Police said they found evidence of blood in the apartment that linked to MALEAH. Authorities also said, and they found blood in the home of MALEAH. So once again, where's MALEAH Davis? It's May 11th right now. We still don't have MALEAH, but we do know that the stepfather, and I'll use that lightly, the stepfather is the number one suspect. But let's not forget Brittany. Her story is shaky. Even though she wasn't there this entire time, is she still guilty? Now, Sunday, May 12th, court documents release noted chemicals sprayed at Vince's home, and it picked up traces of blood in the hallway and the bathroom. DNA samples taken from MALEAH's toothbrush were consistent with the samples found from the blood discovered throughout the apartment. And I don't want to get emotional, but we have this little girl, 4 years old, innocent, haven't even started life yet. She's in the care of her stepfather. Quotations. He's supposed to be protecting her. He claims that she was abducted, when actuality there is blood, traces of blood in the hallway and the bathroom at the home. So we already know where this is leading. Now on May 13th, just after they find this blood evidence at the home, Darian was supposed to appear in court, but it was rescheduled and potentially delayed until July. Brittany is present at the courthouse because, now she's on, she's not on the side of Darian. She's not supporting him anymore. She's cut ties with him completely. However, when she shows up at that court date, she is faced with insults and accusations from protesters. And they actually hold her partly responsible for MALEAH Davis' disappearance. And do you blame them? There is an interview on YouTube by the KHOU TV station. And the interviewer is asking her questions, wanting to know how we can help bring MALEAH home. And if you just look at Brittany, her mannerisms, how she looks, how she sits, the way she answers questions, something is not adding up. It makes you wonder, is she the blame of this? Is she really against Darian? Because as of lately, because this story is still being revealed to this day, she knows more. Now, 2 days later, on May 15th, the search for the 4-year-old MALEAH Davis, the Texas EquiSearch, have been combing places along Vince's one-time mill route in Rosharon. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. What it is, Darian, he did work and he was a diligent worker. He did temp service, and so he did this mail route, and allegedly he described the route as an ideal place to hide a corpse, according to the Miller of Texas EquiSearch. Well, they searched high and low, going along this mail route, trying to find MALEAH, because we still don't know where she is. However, they did not find her, and that's why they put that search to a halt on May 15th. Now, let's go into some background information of Darian Vince. Number one, he has no criminal record. Matter of fact, most of the pictures that you see online is with MALEAH Davis and Darian Vince. No pictures have surfaced with Brittany Bowen, so that kind of just shows you the relationship he had with this little girl. It obviously was close, it was endearing, but something down the line got a little bit screwed up because she's now missing. Brittany also claims that Vince was abusive towards MALEAH. Brittany also saw severe bruising on MALEAH's leg at least once and had suspicions of MALEAH being touched inappropriately by Darian Vince. Also, another YouTuber, he actually did an interview with Darian Vince's father, and he goes into great detail, so definitely I'll link that interview down below. He goes into great detail about the relationship of Brittany and Darian. Now, this father, he is a little biased, but I do believe there's some truth in what he is saying. Number one, he claims that Darian was a diligent, hard worker. He provided in that family. He was the sole provider. Brittany never worked, he claimed. He also claimed that he constantly told him not to get involved with Brittany because she used him, and that his family was helping out more so with the kids, and that he was overworked because he was trying so hard to provide for this 5-person family. Another thing that I want to point out to you, and this is the part where it definitely gets to, matter of fact, to MALEAH. Recently, it was revealed iCkEdMeL, he cuts ties with Brittany. He says that things were not what it appears. Brittany knows more to the story, and what I want to do is just bring MALEAH home. So iCkEdMeL goes to talk to Darian, and in fact, he finds out more information than he could ever expect. Darian reveals that he, in fact, knows where MALEAH is. He claims that he dropped her off on the side of the road in a bag, all the way in Arkansas. He also claims that he worked hard. He worked so hard to provide for the family. He also reveals that he never cheated on Brittany with a man. He cheated on her with multiple other women, but he would hide their identity with male names listed under the phone. So iCkEdMeL immediately calls the cops, lets them know this is information that I'm being provided by Darian Vince. They go to Arkansas, and it is indeed true that she was found on the side of the road. However, they had gotten there too late, because where he actually placed her a company that mows the grass, the lawn. They actually didn't see the bag there. And so pieces of MALEAH was scattered. And this is where it actually hurts the most. It's because she could have been found. This could have been prevented totally. And now more so than ever, some key pieces of evidence have been lost because of the tampering of the situation. And it's so unfortunate that this had to happen to this little girl. Children are supposed to be blessings. Children are supposed to bring the light, the future, and the legacy. However, this little girl's life was cut short. And we have to, now that we even know where MALEAH is, we still don't know really what happened. What truly happened. And I know I'm speaking so early about this case because it just happened in May. But the core of this is, why did it have to happen to her? Why did this situation have to occur? Could it have been prevented when she was taken away from Child Protective Services a year ago? Who thought it was best for her to go back into the care of them if they knew that she had been hit so hard that she needed brain surgery? Her developmental skills were off. They had to do therapy, mental as well as physical therapy, for MALEAH to even be back on the right track. Did Brittany choose Darian over her own children? Did she choose a relationship that was filled with infidelity, that was dealt with lies? Did she choose all of that over her own child? Did Brittany know that this was going to happen? Did she know about this entire situation before this outlandish story of kidnapping occurred? We have to look at this case as a learning tool to know that when you have children and you're starting to date, do you allow someone that you're just dating to take care of your children before you even get married? Do you allow this type of energy around your children? Like the infidelity, seeing males or men phone numbers in his phone, but you still allow that person in your life. It's devastating that we had to find MALEAH in this way. The only positive thing I think that came out of this was that we do know where MALEAH is, and she can finally rest in peace. Another positive thing is that those other two babies that Brittany gave birth to, they are out of that home and hopefully in a better position. But the unfortunate thing is that we still don't know what happened in that house. And it's going to be interesting when we truly start to reveal that. Now, Darian is the only one being charged right now. It's going to be interesting to see if something comes down on Brittany, because ever since her child has been revealed, she has not been taking interviews, she has not came out, she has not said anything. So it'll be quite interesting to see, because I guarantee you, she knows more to this story. So this is the case of what happened to MALEAH. I hope you like this podcast. If you have any comments, concerns, please write them down below. Make sure you subscribe and like this channel. Thank you all for your support, and I'll see you next time.